sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Kol hanshama tehallel. Sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Kol hanshama tehallel.
Shana Tova, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Youngman, and I am the president of the Congregation. I welcome each and everyone who is with us tonight. I want to personally thank those who have already made their pledge or sent in their donations. Your contributions will ensure that we will meet all our financial commitments to maintain and improve our facilities for them to be modern and appealing. The latest count is about $25,000, so we're about short about $5,000 of our $30,000 goal, but we're getting close. If we meet our goal before Yom Kippur, we will not have our appeal speech. So please donate. At this time, I would like the entire board of directors to please stand. If they're here, please stand. This is the leadership of our temple. These people put in countless hours of their time to run this temple. To all of you, I say a very heartfelt thank you. Thank you. I stand on the shoulders of the ones that came before me. On the bima behind me, we invited all past presidents. They're on the bima today. I have received a great deal of support from everybody in this congregation, and the following individuals have given me the guidance, knowledge, and confidence to lead. Please stand as I read your names. Immediate Vice President Steve Wiesel, Past President and Co-ICR Chair Sharon Kravitz, and Rabbi Mark Goldfarb. I want you to know that your support and friendship has had a profound and positive effect in my life and our community. Thank you. We run a very, very lean budget that is dependent on donations from all of you. In case you're not sure how to make donations, there are pink pledge cards in the envelopes on the tables in the foyer. Fill it out and hand it to one of the board of directors who stood just a moment ago, or mail them back. Behind me is our wonderful High Holiday Choir and our great and worldly accompanist, Dr. Ray Irwin, who has, in every year, have provided the wonderful music for the high holidays and year-round. We thank all of you for the time and effort you have put in to make our services special. And of course, the evening would not be complete without our very own Rabbi Goldfarb and cantorial soloist Ariel Goldfarb. They both have been working endless hours to ensure that our services are special and meaningful. Toda Rabba. On the back of your program is a list of events that are coming up. It is very important to call the office and make reservations for the Shabbat Sukkot dinner on Friday, October 6th. We want to have enough food for everybody. Also, please turn down your cell phones so we don't all look at you when they ring. And please use the crosswalks if you're parked across the street. We want to see you tomorrow. Okay, I would like to thank the religious committee for the oneg desserts that will be served on the patio following the service for all of us to enjoy. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Shana Tova, David. Shana Tova, and good Yontiv, everyone. Good Yontiv. There we go. Wanted to make sure my new glasses weren't just imagining people that were out there. It's a pleasure to have you with us as we welcome this new year, 5,778. So underneath my robe, I have on my bell bottoms and my tie-dye shirt as we relive the 70s in our congregation. Please, inside your programs are a slew of information about events taking place, not only the worship services, not only the events, but a number of programs taking place. Please be sure to take a look at those items, take them home with you if you would like, maybe put them in your book so you can bring them back tomorrow. You can then leave them here with us. We will reload them with Yom Kippur information, and you can pick them up again at Yom Kippur. And that way you're all set. By the way, as well, in addition to the church across the street, there is parking in the neighborhood behind us. Our gate is locked in the open position. So you can park in the neighborhood and you don't even have to cross Rosecrans. You can just walk through the cul-de-sac as another close and convenient parking location for those who need it. I want to acknowledge and thank Philip Carey, our sound technician, our web broadcasting maven right here at PCS, the Phil Carey station. Broadcasting to the World Wide Web. Phil, thank you, ably aided by Susan Carey. For those of you who should fall asleep during the worship service tonight, you can catch it tomorrow on our YouTube channel, and you can even skip through the boring parts. And for those of you who are joining us on the web, we are grateful to be able to share our high holiday services with you. If you are ever in the neighborhood in La Mirada, please stop by. We'll share a cup of coffee, and to quote a rather popular commercial at one time, we'll even leave the light on for you. Thank you, thank you. I worked hard for that one. Our new year gives us the opportunity to, whenever it falls, on a Wednesday, on a Friday, on whatever day Rosh Hashanah falls, we have the opportunity to pause, to look back at where we were, and most importantly, to look ahead as to where we would like to be. This is what Rosh Hashanah is all about. This gives us a wonderful opportunity as we welcome this Jewish New Year. I invite us to turn to page 6 in our Machzorim. As we enter this new year, it's appropriate that we begin with words of songs. Well, words. We begin with melodies of songs and words of praise. What better way to begin the year than with hope and praise for this coming year? On the bottom of page 6, Hava Nashira. Come, let us sing. Let us sing out God's praise together. I invite us to turn to page 16 and rise as we are able. Here I am, Hineni, one soul within this prayer community. Like those around me, I bring my own concerns and yearnings to this sacred place, hoping they will find expression in the time-hallowed words of my people and in the traditions cherished by generations before me. May I bring the best of my energies to these holy days, approaching this spiritual work with open heart and mind, sincerity and sustained focus on the deep questions of this season. Who am I? How shall I live? Where have I fallen short or failed? This night, I take up the challenge of these days of awe, a cheshbon hanefesh, a searching and examination of my life, a moral inventory of my deeds, my words, and my thoughts. During the next 10 days, let me face the truth about myself and listen to your still, small voice, taking comfort in your promise that I am always, always free to change, released from staleness and routine. Let me know the joy of beginning again. May I gain strength as I share this task with those around me, united by our common purpose, tikkun midot, improving our characters, and tikkun olam, repairing the world. I now prepare myself to pray, one soul amidst this holy congregation. We may be seated. As our service continues on page 7, as I invite our president, David Youngman, and our First Lady, Karen Youngman, to share in the meditation before the lighting of our Yom Tov candles. A note that on this Rosh Hashanah in particular, we are not on Friday night, it is not Shabbat. And so words in brackets or in blue, and hopefully we're not blue-green colorblind amongst us, but words in the brackets that deal with Shabbat we will not be reading. and joined by one of our wonderful teachers as well in our religious school and in our Hebrew lab, Hannah Youngman, too.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של יום טוב.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on this festival.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של יום טוב.
Continuing on the bottom of page 11, there we share together the words of our Shehechianu. As we enter this new year, we are grateful to God for sustaining us on this past year, bringing us to this present year, and enabling us to celebrate this time together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Our service continues on page 12. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. And this is a time of the soul, a time to rejoice, a time to reflect, and a time to turn. It is a time to gather round the table with loved ones and friends, a time for song and a time for silence, a time for prayer and confession to the open heart, a time to retreat to our sanctuaries within, a time to renew the life and spirit of our community. We continue responsively. Together, this is the season. This is the season of hope. like mist rising at sunset, like dew descending at dawn. Our hopes beautify and nourish everything they touch. Our hopes make us partners in creation, pursuers of peace, people who aspire to a world of justice.
This is the season of awe. When our eyes behold it, may we feel blessed. When we turn towards each other, let us feel strength. When we seek the holy, may we find purpose. May we find courage. May we find love.
We continue on page 15. At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast day, we sound the shofar. For that is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. As I invite our shofar ensemble to gather here on our bima, Toby Porter, Ellie Ursus, and Matthew Hom. Praise God with the blast of the shofar. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truat amo Yisrael barachamim. We read together, blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people Israel. I invite our shofar ensemble to rise. As we welcome this Rosh Hashanah with the sounding of our shofars. 1, 2, and then 3. Tekiah. Shavarim. Teruah. And Tekiah. Thank you. You may return to your seats. Our service continues on page 19. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. I guess I should say, by the way, that the full sounding of the shofar is really tomorrow. This is but an appetizer. Okay? This is the appetizer. You got to come back tomorrow for the full meal. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu yehi ratzon shenizkei livrotecha b'shnat chameshet elefim sheva va'od shiv'im v'shmone. We acknowledge our God and God of our ancestors, that we may know your blessings in the year 5778. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort, courage, resilience, and strength. May the words of our hearts be acceptable to you. In the new year that stretches before us, we are forever grateful for the gift of life, and let us all say, Amen. We continue on the next page with the words of our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. I invite us to rise as we are able.
Please join me on page 22. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah potecha ksharim, uvidna meshayitim, umachiliv ad hazmanim, umsader et hakokavim, b'shmishtotehem bakir kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, goel or mibnei moshek, v'hoshek mibnei or, umavir yom uve layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavot shemo. And then we continue on page 24 in the middle of the page. Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak of these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all of our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. For you are blessed, the one who loves your people, Israel.
We continue on page 26. We may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושילנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Our service continues on page 33.
To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect, to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts, to break the bonds of fear,
to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being, to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, to break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help. Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation at the dawning of this year. Continue on page 36. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety on our wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, and now until the end of time. Together, Baruch atah Adonai, Haparei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. Rosh Hashanah in the Pines. Darkness settles slowly across the horizon. The new year rises before us, its fragile moon awaiting our embrace. Heaven and earth entwine in their annual dance of recreation. A fissure appears in the firmament tonight, an entranceway into new beginnings. Out beyond the squalls, the sea expands and contracts, keeping time to the thrumming of the universe. Under this Rosh Hashanah sky, the path before us is uncertain. All we can do is hold each other tight as we make our way home.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemnei Rabbi. Be'alma divrach yiruteh ve'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayid chol Beit Yisrael.
Yeah.
In a moment, we will continue with the words of our tefillah, our prayers, found on page 42 and following. It opens with a verse from Psalms. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Before we continue with this section of our worship service, I share this meditation. A toddler thinks that she cannot walk, but she can. A child fears that he will never swim, but he will. Many of our limitations in life are more perceived than real. It is only ghosts that are holding us back. In Hebrew, the words for lips contained in this verse from Psalms, the words for lips, my lips, fatai, sefet, is the same word as banks, as in a river bank. The banks of a river define its limitations. The banks of a river set its course and determines its path. And so when we say, Adonai, open my lips, Adonai, sefatai tiftach, we are also saying, Adonai, help me to see beyond my perceived and self-imposed limitations. I invite us to rise as we are able for our tefillah.
Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei לאבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה.
We continue on page 46.
Your life-giving power is forever, Adonai, with us in life and in death. You liberate and save, cause dew to descend, and with mercy abundant, lovingly nurture all life. From life to death, you are the force that flows without end. You support the falling, heal the sick, free the imprisoned and confined. You are faithful even to those who rest in the dust. Power beyond power, from whom salvation springs. Sovereign over life and death, who is like you? Merciful God, who compares with you? With tender compassion, you remember all creatures for life. Faithful and true, worthy of our trust, you sustain our mortal yearnings. In you we place our undying hopes. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol hametim. Wellspring of blessing, power eternal, you are the one who gives and renews all life. We continue on page 49. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name.
We may be seated.
Netzach
Our service continues on page 53.
You chose us with love to be messengers of mitzvah, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you, and celebrate your nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has been our calling. In your love, eternal God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. Our God and God of all generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness. Together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace, on this day of remembrance. Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion.
Our service continues on page 58. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, kadshenu v'mitzvotecha, v'ten chalkenu v'toratecha. God who is ours and God of our fathers and mothers, lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find a portion of Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness, teach us to be satisfied and to know the joy of your salvation. Help us to serve you truly with purity of heart, for you are a faithful God, whose truth stands forever. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. Our praise to you, Eternal One, whose power pervades all the earth. You bring holiness to the people Israel and to this day of remembrance. We continue on page 60. Our service continues on page 67. As we read responsively, great is peace, for all blessings flow from peace.
Great is peace, for without peace no blessing is complete.
Great is peace, for even in times of war, the hope for peace is undiminished.
Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who repent.
Great is peace, for peace is the inheritance of the righteous.
Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who love the study of Torah.
Great is peace, for peace is granted to the humble.
Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who do justice.
Great is peace, for God's name is peace.
Great is peace, for peace is equal in weight to all the works of creation.
Great is peace, for even heaven needs peace.
Behold, if peace is needed in heaven, where not hatred nor strife is found, how great need for peace on earth, where hatred and strife are found.
Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. You are the Blessed One, the Eternal One, our source of shalom.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Ki ata hu melech adon lechol ha'shalom letov beinecha levarich et amcha Yisrael bechol leituv chol shah Sefer Chaim, beracha v'shalom, beracha v'shalom, ufarnasa tova, beracha v'shalom, nizacher v'nikatem lefanecha, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ושלום ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Our service continues on page 72. May the Eternal One who blesses all life bless and strengthen all of us, all who struggle against illness. May we whose lives are touched by illness be blessed with faith, courage, love, and caring. May we experience the support and the sustenance of family, of friends, and of community. May we be granted restful nights and days of comfort. We pray for refuah shlema, for precious moments of healing and a sense of wholeness in body and in soul. May those who care for the sick with their hands their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and with stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skills and knowledge be blessed with insight, with patience, and with compassion. May all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and find hope, and let us say, Amen. In a moment, we will share together in words of our Misha Berach our prayers for healing for those who are facing challenges to their shalom, their wholeness, and their well-being. I invite you to share aloud the name of a loved one, a friend or a family member, so that we might bring them here into this space at this time and into our hearts as we share this prayer for those who are with us struggling against illness, and for those who are unable to be with us because of the illnesses and the challenges that they are facing. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen. Our service continues on page 75. As we continue responsively. We haven't forgotten Avinu Malkenu.
Kings and disobey fathers,
and we have no great liking for absolute power, Akiva stood before you in a time of drought, and his words went up like a flame on the altar.
Avinu Malkenu, you alone are our ruler. Avinu Malkenu, have compassion for us.
He was humble and forgiving, so his prayer was answered. Tonight, we speak again in a time of drought. Dry ground beneath us, no water, only rock.
Not hunger for bread, or thirst for water, our hearts that are longing to hear God's voice.
For the sea of faith is all but gone, the tide's gone out on an empty beach. The world mocks our hopes and life tests our courage.
Why do the wicked live on and prosper? Why are you silent when they prey on the innocent?
And if your dominion is kindness and justice, why is creation in so much pain? Avinu Malkenu, sustain our souls, send rain to our roots, help us find a way to pray.
Make us humble and forgiving of ourselves and one another.
Avinu Malkenu, renew these words, help us speak them with conviction and believe their truth. 100 generations have stood before the ark, and they lifted up their voices like flame on the altar. And they put their trust in kindness and justice, and they gave their strength to make the promise real.
Avinu Malkenu, we haven't forgotten. Avinu Malkenu, bring us back to you.
These pivotal words, as part of our Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur observance, have long been part of this tradition and challenge us in many ways. We no longer think of God, or many of us no longer think of God as an old man with a beard sitting in a chair, pulling strings and pointing to things. We do not connect with the terminology Malkenu, our king. We don't live in a time of kings with absolute power. Even many countries that have kings have a constitutional monarchy. And so as modern minds, we recoil at some of the terminology that we find within our liturgy. And yet at the same time, there is beauty in these words, for they bring about a sense of urgency. And they remind us of a sense of urgency. The new year is here. And there is truly only one question Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur have for us at this time. There is only one question that our tradition is waiting for us to answer. There is only one question our God asks us at this time. We are another year older. The question is, are we another year wiser? And so we pause. Our service continues on page 76, and I invite us to rise as we are able. So we continue responsively in the Hebrew and the English. Avinu Malkenu ein lanu melech ele ata, Avinu Malkenu, almighty and merciful. Avinu Malkenu lama'ancha rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkenu. Avinu Malkenu aseh imanu lama'an shemecha. Avinu Malkenu shalach refuah shlema lechole amecha. Avinu Malkenu kara ra'eh gazer dinenu. Avinu Malkenu kotvenu v'sefer geula v'yeshua. Avinu Malkenu zochrenu b'zikron tov lefanecha. Avinu Malkenu aseh lema'ancha v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkenu, act for your sake and save us.
Avinu Malkenu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkenu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkenu, Chamol aleinu, Ve'alol aleinu, V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkenu, Kale Dever, V'cherev v'ra'av, Avinu Malkenu, Kale Chotzar, U'mastin, Avinu Malkenu, Avinu Malkenu, Kotvenu, B'sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkenu, Kaddish aleinu, Kaddish aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkenu, Avinu Malkenu, Kod aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkenu, Avinu Malkenu, Avinu Malkenu, Avinu Malkenu.
We read together at the bottom of the page, Avinu Malkenu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkenu, Onenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkenu, Onenu Vaneinu, Ki enanu nosim, Aseh
We may be seated. What a beautiful, beautiful night this is. Here in our spiritual home for over 60 years. To be here celebrating Rosh Hashanah at Temple Beth Or. What a beautiful choir we have this evening. What a lovely, lovely choir. Susan Montgomery, Deneen Dyson, John Hayden, Stan DeWitt. What a wonderful, wonderful choir. And of course, I'm going to kvel for a moment. As a rabbi, I am just touched by the voice of our cantor. And as her father, I'm tickled pink. And Dr. Ray Irwin, who has composed some of and arranged some of our music for this evening. I want to give the right credits. And also composed. I think, are we doing that tonight? Tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we're singing a composition. But tonight, having composed some and arranged some of our music to bring out all of our voices. Dr. Irwin, thank you. Thank you very much. To our past presidents who are able to be with us here this evening, and to those who are not able to be here this evening, we are here because of your dedication, your involvement, and your hard work with our congregation, and I truly am grateful for all of that. And to all of you, thank you. Thank you for being here, for supporting our congregation. Our beautiful floral arrangements here on the bima. It's like living in a veritable garden. A wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Perhaps a great way to kick off the year. Oh, and to answer the unasked question, no, I did not get the iPhone 10. No, not even. I don't know. My contract's up for renewal. Maybe. Negotiate. Maybe the congregation might like to think about. Anyway.
That's it.
We'll sign right now, right? As a young child, I loved playing with Legos. Legos were the most awesome thing ever invented when I was a kid. Little square block. That's all we had no round pieces. We had no oval pieces. We had no curved pieces. No. It was squares and rectangles, and you would snap in a variety of different colors, and you would snap them together. And whenever my sisters and cousins would get together for holidays or whatnot, we would build various things with the Legos we had. As a parent, I was thrilled when my children loved to play with Legos too, and we still have boxes of them because, these things are expensive, absolutely expensive. But now they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and they even have heads and faces and bodies. They didn't have that when I was growing up. It was squares. You could not make a body. It was hard to make a truck with square wheels, but we would try. Now they come with rubber wheels and all kinds of things, and you can have them going in a whole variety of different directions, and you can buy kits that come with the instructions as to how to make all kinds of things. The USS Enterprise, the Millennium Falcon, you name it. You can go buy these kits, and the Lego stores. And what am I talking about? I'm here in Southern California. Legoland. Invented in Denmark, little bits and pieces that you snap and put together. What is it about the Scandinavians? Denmark and Legos, Sweden and IKEA, little bits and pieces that you assemble yourself to make whatever it is. You could buy the toy already made, but somebody in Denmark said, if we sold them the pieces, they'd put it together themselves. Genius. And the Lego mentality is really kind of a good mentality, and the Lego philosophy is kind of a good philosophy to follow, You got a part that's, you don't like anymore, you take it out, you put it back in, you change the color, change the face, and Luke Skywalker, snap, becomes Darth Vader real quick. There you go. It's very easy, and things are interchangeable, and everything just happens right then, right there. You make it, you change it, bada bing, bada bang. And we've carried that over in a way to our own physical bodies. And sometimes this is a good thing, the knee goes bad. Okay, so fortunately it's not Legos, titanium, or other things. And you snap it out and put in a new one, and there you go. And so there can be some very helpful qualities about the Lego philosophy that we could apply. But then there's also some very dangerous elements about the Lego mentality that unfortunately we nevertheless also apply. We meet people, we spend time with people, and somewhere in the back of our mind is the thought, well, she would be great if she only had, a little bit more of this and a little of that, and he would be really nice if we took a little of this, and if people came as Lego parts, we would be refashioning them in our image, taking away this and that and giving them that and this and the other things, and that's not exactly a good quality to have. Life teaches us that we have to accept many, many things as they are. And the Lego mentality is the exact opposite, because it teaches us if I don't like something, I'll just swap out the necessary pieces and put in the ones that I like. This is very, very dangerous. And in our consumer society, we are ingrained with this idea. With a particular model of car, well, you don't like that, well, we can swap in and out those, and you can have this model of car. Ta-da, there you go. Everything you want to have. So we've kind of been taught that if you don't like what it is that you see, well, just snap out the parts you don't like and put in the parts that you do. Except for when it comes to life, when it comes to human beings, and when it comes to the things that really matter, it doesn't really work that way. We can't say, I want to live in Southern California with this great weather and the wonderful scenery and not have the earthquakes. Let's snap out the faults here and put them in Ohio and in Michigan. We can't do that. We can't say, I love living in Southern California, but the traffic, so let's move the traffic to Poughkeepsie and let's move the traffic. No, life doesn't work that way. Worse, I see us trying to do this on a national level, with things that are part of us, part of our past, part of our present, we don't like anymore, we want to snap out and get rid of. And I think there's something very dangerous with that idea. A couple years ago, Deborah and I were in Berlin, Germany, and I was absolutely enamored and amazed at what Germany has done. A country that was the cause of 2 world wars, death and destruction across Europe, and the Jewish people. Reunited, put back together, and there in Berlin, what the Germans have done with their past is something we need to learn. Not out on street corners, not marching down streets, are people wearing swastikas and carrying torches. No. Not in Germany. That's illegal. The swastika is a sign of hatred, of death, of destruction. But the swastika is available and is readily in sight on the grounds that used to be the Nazi administration in Berlin, bombed to smithereens. There stands a museum to evil and to dictatorship. And in that museum, the swastika is readily available. And the history of what led to the rise of Nazism in Germany is there for everyone to see and to learn. And the school groups that were there touring as Deborah and I were walking through this free and open museum was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Here it is, folks. This is what we were. This is what we have learned. This is what we will never be again. That's the message. You can go visit Dachau in Germany. You can go visit the concentration camps throughout Europe. And there, the information is readily available for all to see and all to learn. On another trip, Deborah always wanted to go to Poland. My family's from Poland. I never wanted to go back to Poland. They hated us, they killed us. Why do I want to go back there? I never lived there. My parents never lived there. My grandfather was 2 years old when he left. Why would I want to go back? We got to go. We went. I am so glad that I did. We went to Auschwitz and Birkenau, stepping into this museum, this monument, this site of horrible atrocities. We had a very young tour guide guiding us through. And at the end of the tour, there at the collapsed crematoria in Auschwitz, I asked him. I told him who I was. I was traveling incognito. No, I'm not a rabbi, I'm just a tourist. But afterwards, I went up to him and I said, I am a rabbi, and I have to ask you, how do you do this? How do you step every day into hell and go through and tell people what happened here? And how do you leave this place sane? And he said to me, look around. Look at all the tour groups that are here. There was an Asian tour group, there was a school tour group. The place was packed. He said, first of all, I love history. And so I am, enthralled by the history, as gross and as disgusting as it is. But more importantly, I'm here because they're learning the lesson. They are learning the lesson. Germany embraced its Nazi past and put it on display so that people would learn. We don't do this anymore. We are not this anymore. And in our country, swastikas are anywhere you want to find them. Up and down the streets of Charlottesville this year, with very little response from our leadership in a way that should have been responded to. The swastika means only one thing: death and destruction. Why is it on our streets? And don't give me freedom of speech, because you cannot shout fire in a crowded movie theater. And I'm sorry, any individual who threatens another individual with death, this should not be tolerated in the 21st century. Any group that is singled out for death or violence, this should not be allowed. Because we, the Jewish people, know where that ends. We know exactly where that ends, and you can see it in Auschwitz and at Dachau, and you can see it throughout the world. When hatred runs amok, lives are destroyed. And instead of embracing our past, because as I'm there in Berlin, looking at how Germany has embraced its Nazi past, I look at our country and say, how have we embraced the wrong things we have done as a nation? How have we embraced the dislocation of the Japanese during World War II? Yes, if you happen to be driving out, you can go and visit a camp, and you can see it. How have we embraced it? How have we embraced our part of the slavery, of the American slavery that built many parts of our nation capital? Where is that embraced in any real kind of way? And so as we're working to tear down these statues of the Confederate soldiers, my thought is, no, we should not be hiding them. We should not be tearing them down. We should be learning from them. This is what we were. It's printed in our Constitution, in case anybody has any doubts. that Africans are only 3/5 of a person. So it is printed, readily available for all to see. What we're missing is the second part of that, which is we've learned from this. This is no longer what we believe. This is no longer what we aspire to. This is no longer what we believe our country should stand for. And if we go through the Lego mentality and just remove these from public display, from even museums, let's build museums. Every city should have a museum. If we want to go and experience the African American experience, we have to go to Washington, D.C., to the Smithsonian, where there's still a very long wait list to get in to see the African American Experience Museum. I don't think that's the way it should be in this country. I think every town square needs to acknowledge that, yeah, as a country, we have screwed up. As a country, we have made some really, really horrible mistakes. But as a country, we have learned from them, and this is how we've learned from them, and let us show you. Because when you sweep the issues under the rug, they do not go away. They do not go away. And this is what Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is all about. We don't sweep our issues under the rug at this time of year. Indeed, we shake out the rug and say, oh, look what I tried to avoid. Oh, yeah. Oh goodness, yes, yeah. As a nation, we need to do that as well. We need to embrace our past in order to move into a brighter future. When I take our confirmation class to Washington, D.C., one of the toughest museums I have ever been in is the American Indian Museum. Because as I go through this museum and I see how we betrayed the Native Americans, how they entered into agreements and we broke them up one side and down the other. And when I watched the movie of the death marches that we forced the Native Americans to move on as we expanded west, I felt like a young German going to a Holocaust museum. Because I myself did not do that, and I did not vote for those people who did that, but my country did. And as I sat there with our students watching this movie of Native American children, men, women, shot, burned, marched to death, the image I have in my mind is World War II and the Shoah. And just put the Jews in the Native Americans' place. And I think to myself, this has to be embraced. This has to be part of our consciousness. Because if it's not part of our consciousness, we will never learn. We will never learn. And I think many of the things we are experiencing in our nation today, with the racial tension that still exists, is a symptom of the disease that we've been ignoring for the last 200 years. We need to, as a nation, as a people, we need to examine our past, just as we do as individuals on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And we need to learn from our past, and we need to embrace it, as horrific as some of it is. The Germans have done a wonderful job of this. I felt healing in Berlin. I felt peace in Berlin. I felt peace in Auschwitz, as shocking as that is to say. Not because of what happened there, but because of what people are learning from it. That is our only hope as human beings. That is our only hope as a nation, is that we learn from our mistakes. We embrace them and move into tomorrow. May this Rosh Hashanah period be a time of reflection for us as individuals, But more importantly, as Americans, may it be time for us to challenge our leadership that we need to find a way to cure the disease. The unrest will not end. The racial tensions will continue until we are able to heal our past. And the only way we can heal that is to confront it, embrace it, and to learn. Ken yehi ritzonenu, so may it be our will on these Yamim Noraim to embrace our past as individuals, our past as a nation, and grow because of it. Our service continues on page 81. No one ever told me the coming of the Messiah could be an inward thing. No one ever told me a change of heart might be as quiet as new fallen snow. No one ever told me that redemption was as simple as springtime and as wonderful as birds returning after a long winter. Rose-breasted grosbeaks singing in the swaying branches of a newly budded tree. No one ever told me that salvation might be like a fresh spring wind, blowing away the dried, withered leaves of another year, carrying the scent of flowers, the promise of fruition. What I found for myself, I try to tell you. Redemption and salvation are very near, and the taste of them is in the world that God created and laid before us. We continue on page 82 with the words of our Aleinu, our adoration, as I invite us to rise as we are able. Continue on page 85. The time may be distant and the outcome uncertain. For how could suffering endemic to the human condition ever come to an end? Cessation of desire, relinquishing attachment, diminished expectations. All these might ease the pain of being alive. Or decide instead that you'll continue to dream, hope, remain fiercely attached to bringing a better day, even if the outcome's uncertain and the time is very distant.
Ayom, ayom, ayom.
Our service continues on page 87. Death will come. Its hand will not be stayed even an instant. Nor can we enter into judgment with it. Our question why will go unanswered. But this does not mean that we are helpless in the face of death. We can and we do rob death of ultimate victory by living life as long as it is ours to live. To ask of death that it never come is futile, but it is not futility. To pray that when death comes for us, it may take us from a world one corner of which is a little better because we were there. When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and with simplicity. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life. The words to our Kaddish are on page 90. If you are observing the Shiva or Shloshim, the 7 or 30-day period following the death of a loved one, I invite you to share that name aloud. The words of our Kaddish originated as a prayer uttered by our rabbis at the conclusion of a period of study, a tractate of the Talmud, a book of the Bible. It essentially just praises God for having been able to share time together. And from that conclusion of a period of study, when we come to the conclusion of one's life, we praise God for having shared that person's life and having had that person in our life. With the words of our Kaddish, we sanctify those who live in our physical world no more, those who live in our hearts and our memories, and in the place we call Olam Haba, the world to come. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemed Rabba, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemed Rabba mevarach le'olam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemed kudasha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shtaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. It is with sadness that we note the death of Henry Casson just yesterday. Funeral plans are underway for Tuesday, I believe, but I am not aware of the time. We will send out a notification once we firm up those details. May all of us who mourn and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's presence a source of strength, courage, and hope. Above all, a source of shalom, of peace, and let us all say, Amen. We may be seated. I wish to invite David Sain, who's already here, right? Yeah, David Sain, and not only a past president, but our Brotherhood president, to share for us in the words of our Kiddush, which we're here somewhere. Our cantor is going to lead us in the Kiddush anyway, in a moment. It's here, page 77. No, it's somewhere. Anyway, following the Kiddush, we're going to share in a concluding song and then set up on our patio outside on this cool, refreshing, lovely evening is an oneg, the likes of which we've had a chance to share at last Rosh Hashanah with lovely, wonderful, oh, there it is. For those of you who'd like to follow along with the Kiddush, it's on page 79. on the bottom of the page, but David is going to read for us a meditation, a thought, before we share together the words of our Kiddush.
The commandment to bless this wine is a commandment to drink life as deeply as we drink from this cup. It is a commandment to bless life and to love deeply. It is a commandment to remember our relationship with God, to join with God as partners in the process of creation, so that by our words, our deeds, our examples, we might create worlds within others. It is a commandment to laugh until we are all laughter, to sing until we are all song, to dance until we are all dance, to love until we are all love. The observance of Rosh Hashanah reminds us to judge our words and our deeds by a divine standard. It calls us to turn from errors and failures and to look ahead with fresh hope and determination. Please let God, with this symbol of joy, the fruit of the vine, and give thanks to the gift of life. May our observance on this day fill us with eagerness to embrace life and to sanctify it. May the new year bring renewed courage to us, strength to our people Israel, and peace to the world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'romemanu mikol ha'shon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava et yom hazikaron hazeh yom teruah mikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim u'devarcha emet v'kayam lad Baruch atah Adonai melech al kol haaretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. L'chaim.
On the back of the ivory sheet of paper in your high holiday programs, you will find the words to our concluding song, Shir Chadash. A new year awaits us. Let us fill it with a new song, Shir Chadash, a new song we will sing. I invite you to hold the piece of paper in one hand, but to rise as you are able and put your arm around the shoulder of someone next to you, or hold the hand of someone who needs to remain seated so that we might be able to make for ourselves a link of melody to take us into the week ahead.
Adonai kol haaretz
Shana Tova Umituka.
I don't know what you're doing there. Shana Tova. And a monitor to Yeah. Do you want to pick? You drove last time, I think.
Right, but I'll still be doing this. Be at your house.
8:15? Is that?